Hi everyone! Welcome back to the channel, Ate Sanang's Thoughts ng mga adlaw, haiyo tanan. This is your Ate Sanang, ang iyo malibot ni Samka. In this video, I will be giving you my review of the 72nd Miss Universe Finals night. And this is probably the last video that I will be creating about Miss Universe before moving on to make contents for the Miss Earth pageant, which will be held on December 22, 2023 in Vietnam. Now, before I give you my review about the Miss Universe final show, let me first take this opportunity to thank the 515 subscribers of the channel. Know guys that your support is greatly appreciated, especially so that this has allowed the channel to open for the YouTube Super's features like the super chat, super thanks, and super sticker features, which you can click to support me further. Okay, also in the future I will be making exclusive content, and I hope you guys would consider clicking on the memberships. Okay, just click on the join button to check out the membership offers. Okay, now many things have actually happened since the coronation of the new Miss Universe, and I will be giving you my thoughts on that. I will be giving you my thoughts about all the issues that came out since the coronation, right after I give you my review on the final show, including the issue about the award which Miss Universe Philippines Michelle D had received, the Best in National Costume Award. I will give you my thoughts on that right before the end of this video, so I hope you would stick out on that. Okay, so here's my intro and let's get on with my review. Alright, so my thoughts on the overall production of the show, I would say that it was great, as I have mentioned in my final prediction video, which I had to take down because of copyright issues. The stage design was great. It also has great lighting. The X stage design allows more front row seats, which means that more people have closer look and greater view of the girls as they are performing, and I think this is really good. Okay, I would also say that the final show was lively. It has just the right amount of energy to excite the audience, the live spectator, as well as the televiewers. Unlike as compared to the preliminary show, which I think was kind of boring. I think the finals night was actually a lot better. Now, comparing the this year's final show to the 71st edition, I would say that the 71st edition was more exciting for some reasons. I also noticed that during the finals, the girl has more lively performance as compared to the preliminary show. Okay, now the semi-finalists were announced, and the girls who made it to the top 20 were Nicaragua, Spain, Puerto Rico, Namibia, Venezuela, India, Thailand, Chile, Miss Jamaica, USA, Nepal, Peru, Cameroon, Colombia, Pakistan, Australia, Philippines, Portugal, South Africa, and El Salvador. I am actually happy with this result, as I correctly projected 14 candidates to be part of the semi-finalists. Now, if I include Miss Chile, whom I named a runner-up in my final prediction video, they would come right about 15. And if I include Miss Jamaica, who was one of the 3 candidates which I named dark horse candidate, they would come right about 16. And I'm so happy for that. I am also especially ecstatic that several of the trailblazing candidates made it through to the semi-finals, like Miss Pakistan, who, despite the backlash that she had from her own people and her own government, stood her ground to prove that a Pakistani woman can actually stand side by side with the women from around the world and stand out from among them, even with all the limitations she has. Also, Miss Nepal, who just proved to us and the whole world that a plus-size woman actually have a space in the world of pageantry. Now, this is one thing I love so much, Miss Portugal, who actually made history by becoming the first transgender woman to make it to the semi-final cut. And I would say that this is an unequivocal demonstration that equal treatment between a natural woman and a transgender woman is actually happening in the competition. Now, despite the joy that I am feeling by reason of all these trailblazing candidates who had placement in the semi-finals, I can't help but felt a little sad because I think Miss Mexico, Miss Italy, and Miss Indonesia should be part of the top 20. Given what they've showed since their arrival in El Salvador, and especially during their performances in the preliminary competition, I really believe that these girls deserve to have a spot in the semis. Many may say that Miss Mexico had a lackluster performance during the prelims, but said dreary performance actually is a lot better than several of the girls who actually were part of the top 20, which is why it's really a wonder to me why she was not able to make it. Another question that I have in mind is that where all have the silver finalists of the Voice for Change video have gone? Why is it that only Miss Puerto Rico and Miss Philippines were part of the top 20? Was the Voice for Change video not part of the consideration in judging how the candidates fare in the competition? Now, if the answer to this question is in the negative, like the Voice for Change video is not part of the judging consideration, what I would like to ask next is what's the purpose of the transformational leadership tagline? Because in my opinion, this a Voice for Change video, the advocacy that they push and promote is the tangible evidence of the transformational leadership. Now, on to the announcement of the top 10. They are Puerto Rico, Thailand, Peru, Colombia, Nicaragua, Philippines, El Salvador, Venezuela, Australia, and Spain. While I am ecstatic of this result as I correctly projected 6 among the 10 placers, which are Puerto Rico, Thailand, Nicaragua, Philippines, El Salvador, and Spain, I can't help but feel chagrin that several of the top performers during the swimsuit round, or should I say several of the ones whom I think have had the best performance during the swimsuit round, were not part of the top 10, like Miss India, Miss South Africa, and Miss USA. This idea actually irked me, especially so that all these 3 girls have good, if not great, interview skills. Now, truth be told, it wasn't this part of the competition where I felt that some Epicurean pot is being boiled for the gastronomic pleasure of a particular creature. Now, said differently, it was in this part of the show where it appears to me like the pathway is being weeded out of the gifted bushes for one to have a breezy walk in the park towards the crown. Yeah, and I think you know who I'm referring to when I said that. And this was actually confirmed when the top 5 was announced. So the top 5 were Australia, Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, Thailand, and Colombia. I could have been happy with such a result, given that I have correctly predicted 3 out of the 5, which are Puerto Rico, Thailand, and Nicaragua. And also, while I did not see Miss Colombia to make it this far in the competition, as I only have her in my top 20, I'm actually glad for her coming this far. However, with Michelle D having been left out of the top 5 boggled me, and it was really a wonder to me why she did not make it. I actually watched the show 3 more times thereafter to look for faults in her performance, but I just get more confused each time I do that. I even came to a point where I'm questioning myself. Maybe my mind and my judgment were just being clouded by my personal bias for Michelle. However, I still can't come to terms to that idea that she's not part of the top five. And since the gown competition is the basis in moving into the top five, let's compare. Okay, um, let's compare and see if Michelle was really outperformed. So let's watch the five ladies side by side with Michelle to see if Shirley does not deserve to be on the top five. I actually hate to do this. However, this is the only way I think that to settle the question I have in my head, and this might just actually work. And my conclusion still remains. While two of them can considerably be said to have outperformed Michelle or have better performance than our bet Miss Universe Philippines Michelle Marquez D, I cannot agree to the three others. I still remain unconvinced. Yeah. So much of that though, let us now scrutinize the answers of the ladies during the top 5 question and answer portion. Now, first to be called was Miss Australia. The question for Miss Australia was, how will you use the Miss Universe platform to promote global gender equality? Her answer was, I will use the Miss Universe platform to push for a message. I think this community is strong, and when we bond together, we can create changes. And when it comes to gender equality, when we use our voice, we use our power to make a change, that's when the real movement happens. Now, in my opinion, I would say that this was an okay answer. Yes, it was just an okay answer, as it did not at all answer the question being asked. The how part of the question was not properly addressed. She did not tackle the question head on and instead delved into other things like explaining the power of our voice to make a change. Yun bang hindi niya tinumbok sagutin ang tanong, sa halip sinagi niya ito ng kaunti bago siya lumiko at nagpatuloy. Sayang lang, kasi she had a good start in answering the question. Had she had a good argument and had a great finishing statement, it could have been a more impactful answer. Especially so that gender equality issue is on the spotlight right now because of the gender pay gap which was highlighted during the FIFA Women's World Cup that happened earlier this year. What I love about Miss Australia though was her demeanor while she was speaking and giving out her answer. She was calm and collected. Not a hint of uneasiness can be traced from her face, and I think this is the reason why she was able to move on to the top 3. Yes. Now, next to be called was Miss Puerto Rico, and her question goes this way. If you win tonight, what will you bring to the Miss Universe brand? And her answer goes like this. I would use that opportunity to show to the world the relevance of beauty queens nowadays. I would use my activism on regarding mental health and telling the world how it is important that if we use our voice to take up space, if we are courageous enough to be ourselves in this world, I would use the platform to reach that and to reach and be that. Thank you so much. Now, I would say that this was an okay answer too, although I would also say that this was not actually the kind of Q&A performance I was expecting from Miss Puerto Rico. truth be told, she was my top pick in my final predictions. And one of the considerations why I chose her as my top pick was her performance during the prelims, as she really had an impeccable performance. And add to that was her Q&A performance during her national pageant, where she did very well. In fact, too well that I considered she would outwit Michelle or Miss USA during the Q&A. It's why I made her my number one pick. I think though that nerves got the best of her that night, and I feel sorry for her about that. Also, I think that her request for interpreter was a missed opportunity. As I know that she could have answered the question in her vernacular and would have aced it. However, a decision has already been made, and I love her bravery for answering the question in English. And still, I love Miss Puerto Rico. Now, next to be called was Miss Nicaragua. Okay, so the question was, what qualities and values guide you as a leader and role model for others? And her answer goes like this. The quality that has inspired me and millions of women and girls today is to be able to appreciate all the little things, because that's where the valuable thing is, the essence of being a human. I would say that this is another okay answer, because just like the two others who answered before her, she did not address the question directly. While she identifies one particular quality of her, which is being able to appreciate the little things, she did not expound on how this quality guides her as a leader. Well, what I appreciate more about Nicaragua though is her demeanor while giving her answer. She was so calm and confident. She was so sure about herself in the answer she was giving, which leads me to question whether or not the translation of her answer was accurately given by the interpreter. Especially so that she was the most applauded by the audience. The audience, huge majority of it, speaks her language. So I think there's a little disconnect there. Yeah. Now, on to Miss Thailand, who was called next. The question was, if you could speak to a room full of students about online bullying, what would you say? And her answer was, I would say not to listen to what other people have to say, because in the end, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but it is up to us on how we react to it. Use our voice to stand up for what is right and be the change that we want to see in the world by leading by example. Don't listen to the hate, because this doesn't shape us, but what shapes us is how we get back up and how we move forward from that. I would say that among the top 5, Antonia by far gave an answer that has the most relevance to what was being asked, except that she seemed lost right in the middle, as I don't understand why she has to include this phrase. Use our voice to stand up for what is right and be the change that we want to see in the world by leading by example. I don't see this fit to the context of her answer, and had she omitted this, her answer could actually have been more precise and concise, which could have been more impactful. Sayang yung chance. Now, my impression was she said this phrase, or she added this phrase para humaba ang kanyang sagot so that she would sound eloquent. If that was the purpose, I would say that she actually achieved it. However, it was at the expense of the substance of her answer. Na sayang. Swerte lang niya actually, kasi walang ibang sumagot na natumbok yung tanong. That said, among all of them, among the top 5, I still rank Antonia at the top. I still ranked her number 1 among the 5 of them. Now, last to be called was Miss Colombia. And the question was, If this was your last day on earth, how would you live it? And her answer was, I am already living it because I am here breaking stereotypes, being a woman, being a mother. Is to leave history and legacy, something I want to transmit to women and mothers and children. Um, Similar to all candidates who came before her, Colombia just went around the question and did not address it head on. Her answer was in her vernacular and was only translated by an interpreter, so I am not sure if the translation was accurate. Having said this, I think that she gave a more impactful answer, and before the top 3 was announced, I was actually thinking that she would be part of that. So I was kind of shocked that she was not on the top 3 contenders. In my opinion kasi, when everybody else did not directly answer the question being asked of them, your next choice would be the one who gave the most impactful answer, and Miss Colombia did just that. Now, from the Q&A performance, my top 3 was Thailand, Colombia, and Nicaragua. And so the top 3 was announced. First to be called was Thailand, second was Australia, and Nicaragua. As it is, since the top 3 in my predictions were Puerto Rico, Philippines, and Thailand, at this juncture, I only have correctly predicted Antonia. Now, on to the final Q&A. The question was, if you could live 1 year in another woman's shoes, who would you choose and why? Thailand answer goes like this. I would choose Malala Yousafzai because I know the struggles she needs to deal with to get to where she is today. She has fight for women's education. She has fight for all women to be able to stand strong and be the change and lead by example. If I could choose anyone, that would be her. Now, this is another okay answer from Miss Thailand. I would say that she addressed the question directly. She also had started strong in giving her answer until she mentioned this phrase, stand strong and be the change and lead by example. The phrase sounds familiar, right? It's familiar because she just actually said that. She actually said almost the same phrase in her answer to the top 5 question. In fact, this is the phrase which I mentioned that ruined her answer, as it does not come in accord to the context of her answer. Now, as to her answer to the final question, I think it was okay to mention this phrase. However, she should have added a little more explanation into it to solidify the argument that she's given. Something though, she abruptly concluded her answer after that, so what's left in my brain is just the repetition of that phrase, which led me to conclude this phrase is part of her pageant Q&A book that she has memorized. And I've got nothing against that. My only concern about it is, katulad ng nangyari, her answer is not coming from her heart. Okay, so much for Antonia. Next to answer was Miss Australia. Her answer goes like this, but let me tell you, I was not able to correctly figure out what the name of her mother was. But she said something like this: I would leave my mother because she's a very strong woman. She's tough. She taught me how to work hard, taught me how to be brave, how to be strong, and I am forever grateful for the lesson that she has taught me. And I would say that Miss Australia's answer was actually heartwarming. And I think this was a good salutation for her mother. And what a great way to acknowledge and pay respect to your mother for all the great things that she's done for you but on a stage grand as this, grand as Miss Universe. And I so love it. Yeah, I would also say that it was a good answer, although it was not as impactful as I would have hoped. I don't know what happened. Probably it's because of the language barrier. Because Miss Australia answered in English, and most of the audience inside the auditorium was not English-speaking people. That's probably it. Now, next to be called was Miss Nicaragua. So Miss Nicaragua's answer was, I would choose Mary Wollstonecraft because she opened the gap and have given opportunity for many women. And what I would do, I would want that gap, that income gap would open up so that a woman could work in any area that they choose to work because there are no limitations for women. That was in 1750. Now in 2023, we're making history. To start with, I would say that this was a great answer from Miss Nicaragua. I love how she opened her argument, why she chose Mary Wollstonecraft, and not only that she laid the foundation of her answer, she also gave elucidation on what she would do with the platform that Mary has paved to address the gender gap in industries during that time in 1750. This actually has concretized her argument, and I love it. While there was a phrase in her answer which I think was unnecessary to be mentioned, like the last part of it, the part which says that was in 1750, now in 2023 we're making history, I think it did not affect the substance of her answer, as this was a conclusory phrase. So I still love it. I love it. And yes, the new Miss Universe was announced in the person of Miss Nicaragua, Shanice Palacios, with Miss Thailand as first runner-up and Miss Australia as second runner-up. Lest it be said, I do not question the result, okay? I am happy that Miss Nicaragua has made history that night by becoming the first Miss Universe of her country. Also, I love Miss Nicaragua because among the three of them, she had the best performance during the final Q&A. However, much as I say that I respect the result as it is now, I still can't help myself from thinking that we could have been seeing a different scenario had Michelle D been part of the top 5. Or, it could also have been a different scenario had Miss South Africa and Miss USA been part of the top 10. Who knows? Now, on the issue of the Laban Bawi of the Best National Costume Award for Michelle, my opinion is, when this was belatedly awarded, as it took them days before it was announced, to me, this is Paconsuelo de Bobo for the Pinoy fans. Yeah. I think this was given or announced to manage the growing disappointment among the Pinoy pageant lovers. For them to have something to say, not actually for them, for us, to have something to celebrate upon. Yun bang parang bata na nagtantrums dahil hindi mo nakuha ang gusto mo, kaya binigyan ka ng tsahin mo ng candy para ka manahimik. Ganun yung dating nun sa akin. Doon naman sa statement na sinasabing mas maraming deserving sa award na yun kaysa kay Michelle, I totally agree to that. I agree to that. Na mas maraming deserving na candidates. I can easily name 5 candidates like Miss Albania, Miss Angola. Nicaragua has a great costume, has great national costume. Also, Puerto Rico has nice national costume, especially Miss El Salvador. Miss Salvador has a very fabulous national costume. I love her national costume. Na kung tatanungin niyo ako kung anong mararamdaman ko kung bubuuin yung award, wala. Kasi nga, sabi ko diba, mas maraming deserving sa award na yun. Although, I would feel bad for the designer because said award is not only a recognition for the candidates but also to the designer. Kahit naman kasi sinasabi ko na mas maraming deserving sa award na yan, naniniwala rin ako na maganda yung costume ni Michelle. At naniniwala rin ako that Michelle had an impeccable performance during the national costume competition, and the designer deserves that recognition at least. Yun. Now, as to the issue about the top 5 posted by Miss Universo SB on their IG page, showing Miss Philippines as part of the top 5 finalists, which they have taken down 10 minutes later and posted a new without Michelle in it. I actually believed the first one that they posted. I believed it for the reason that Miss Universo SV have access to the ins and outs of the show's production. At naniniwala ako na may pinagbasihan sila sa pagpo-post ng ganon. Kung wala silang nakitang papel na pinagbasihan sa post na yun, hindi yun magiging ganun ka-accurate na si Miss Philippines lang ang mali. I feel that they saw something and they take it as officials. It was why they made that post. At naniniwala rin ako sa idea na ang pagtatanggal kay Michelle sa top 5 came as an afterthought and as a result of a deliberation. That's my opinion. So there it is, my opinion about this whole thing, and I think it's now time to end this video as this has become too long. Yet again, it's now time to bid you guys farewell. Before that though, please give the video a like so this gets recommended by YouTube, and also share this if you liked it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Should you want to support me further, please consider checking out the membership and the super button, like the super thanks, the super sticker, and the super chat buttons. Okay? This has been your Ate Sanang, and see you on next video. Ciao!